welcome back to my channel. Today what I'm doing is a barn vlog. Today, what I'll be doing is doing some gymnastic jumping grids. It's finally gotten dry enough to actually start jumping some, and I'm excited that it looks like I'll be able to enter a horse show very soon. So we need to kind of get a little bit better with our jumping chops because our dressage is on point, and we just need to kind of practice up, and gymnastic grids are a great way to encourage your horse to jump correctly over fences. So do be kind in the comments, because my jumping, both my skills as well as my horse's skills, definitely could use some improvement, but we are a work in progress. If you want to look up some gymnastic grids, just Google great gymnastic jump grids. Just Google gymnastic jump grids, and there is a plethora of them that come up. I just kind of picked one that I kind of thought would be okay. So I'm going to pick, and I don't have a whole bunch of jumps, and do also keep in mind that my arena is not level, and it may be just a tad bit wet, so I'm not making it super challenging, and you could also then of course lunge them over the jumps as well. So I am going to hopefully set up just kind of 2 jumps in a row, and then maybe a few trot poles right in front of it. That's kind of my thought, and then I also will do a few canter poles so I can practice the canter poles on a circle. Hopefully that's kind of my thought. So we'll just see how it goes. Alright, so before I go get him and everything and get ready, and by the way, I'm riding Apollo today, who is still for sale, so make sure you check him out and all his videos for sale. And so I'm going to go first to set up the jump grid. Fell down, so I don't know how much of it you got to see me set up, but here's what I got. Again, I don't have a lot of jumping standards, so that's again on the list of things I want to do. I literally have 1 pair, and the rest all I have is barrels. Now with barrels, you don't have a whole lot of options as far as height goes, and again, I'm trying to make it very simple because I don't want it to get too out of control, and I do think I'm going to lunge him first over them, which is a little bit harder to do. It's really good if you have a whole bunch of standards and you could do free jumping first, and I would of course want to do a much larger grid and stuff like that if I had someone else also on the ground with me. So again, because I'm just doing it by myself, this is kind of what I'm looking at here. So what I've got here is 2 trot poles to a cross rail, then a 2 stride to a vertical. Now this vertical is probably like 2 foot maybe, so I'm going to lunge him over it. Then honestly, for the first time going over it, I'm going to make that top line a lot smaller, and then I might just be where I end. We'll see how it goes. And then over there, I've got my 3 canter poles, and then I also just set up an extra cross rail. That's great for just a warm up. It also is coming across a diagonal, and so hopefully I could do it. Now typically with grids, you do, start up this part. So typically with grids, you do want to have it just going from one direction. So I will start it just going on the left lead. So, well, but in all fairness, you're not cantering at this point. So you'll go trot, trot here, canter, canter over, then hopefully canter, canter, do my 3 canter poles, and then hopefully canter this cross trail. That's my goal. Then what I'd like to do is maybe then raise this up a little bit, the vertical, take the trot poles out, and then reverse it and go right, maybe Charlie trot the cross rail, then pick up a canter after that, and then you'll have your 3 canter poles on the right lead, then hopefully the right lead vertical, and then a right lead cross rail 2 strider. But I have to take the trot poles out, so that's why it's important that if you are going to do a grid and you're not planning on getting off, take the trot poles out, because that would get you in a serious problem there. Also, if you notice, I have my gates open because I like to kind of practice with a horse with the gates open. If you've never jumped before, or if you've never done grids like this, definitely recommend closing all the gates for sure. I'll close at least one of them the one that goes back to the barn. That's where I get on. But I'm probably not gonna do that. Probably not gonna do anything else other than that. He has jumped before, it's not our first time. It's just gonna be a little something like that. Eventually I'd like to get 6 sets of standards, if not more than that. So I could be able to set up free jump courses and stuff like that. So, and have a level arena, which would be nice. I don't know if you can kind of tell, but my arena kind of slopes down and to the right. So you'd think it'd be super dry. It's not. That's all it is. And we use this as turnout during the winter. So like this is where a round bale was. So is that. Really like do anything other than walk, and I don't try to do anything on those 3 spots because they're very soft. You can see by looking at it that this is really soft. It's getting harder as the summertime's happening, but I have to be careful, especially in my turns, that I keep him very collected under me because I definitely don't want him to fall because it can be a little bit slick. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get him tacked up. My jump grid, I've walked over the course looking like I've got my trot poles, then a 2-strider, then I've got my canter poles, then like 4.5 to 5 strides to that cross rail, again kind of depending on the way I go. So now I'm just gonna grab him. Now I'm just going to grab him, give him a quick grooming, and get him ready to go. Just a little dirty. Some of these jump grids. So what you'll need is a lunge rope. Don't do this with like a lead rope, that would be crazy. If you have an extra long lead rope, lunge rope, that would even be better. Mine's kind of normal size, so I'll probably have to run a little bit, but that's okay. And then you need a whip of some sort, just to kind of encourage him to go forward. Again, if you have someone on a helper on the ground, that's always nice as well. But again, I'm just gonna have him kind of go over this. I'm gonna lunge him around in a circle just a second just to warm up his legs, but he has not been in a stall, he's been in turnout, so he's not, you know, straight cold here coming out. But if he's coming out of a stall, I'll make sure you warm him up properly. Okay, let's go. things we take away from it is that he can, when he's focused, do very well. But a lot of times he's not focused. One reason is because his friend is out in the pasture and not in the barn. So he's not gonna be listening to me. Also, he was getting a little fresh, which he was straight out of the pasture, hadn't been doing much today. So he's a little fresh. So he was coming into that first bit way too fast, and so he didn't even do the trot steps at all. He went straight into canter. Can't do trot pulls at a canter, doesn't work. So under saddle, he should be much better about that. So I am going to set my jumps back up, and the reason why I knocked down one of those jumps over there is because he just misjudged that. Again, I have that big mud hole you have to kind of avoid. He just didn't really see that coming. So I'm gonna settle my jumps back up, get on, warm up just a minute as far as get him listening to me, do some transitions, do some stopping and all that kind of stuff, and then I'll go ahead and jump it and see how we go. Yeah, so we're all good to go. Now we're going to try it out. I do realize now my canter pulls are too steep of an angle for him to be able to do that correctly. So I'm going to have to miss that. I will fix it if one of my pulls or when one of my jumps come down. I'll fix it and make it less steep. But again, I only have what I have to work with. So let's run through it, see where we are. So wish me luck. Alright guys, that's it for today. So make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. See what else I'm going to do this morning. Planning on entering a show here in about 2 weeks to do combined training, which is dressage and jumping. Hope you can see me in this frame. Thank you so much for watching. God bless, be adventurous, and